Good morning. Today we're going to be practicing to help the back, strengthening the back and relieving tension in the back. So before we get started, if you have blocks or blankets, firm blankets, or a strap, any props that you might be able to use, make sure you have them close by. And as we get started, I just want to bring up this idea that sometimes we're not aware of the causes of, let's just say, back pain, and we're not aware of the causes of hip pain or back pain or upper back pain or shoulder pain. And we think we assume it's one thing, like, oh, I overdid it. I picked up something really heavy, and that was the cause. And so, I pinched a muscle, or, all the different, I created a muscle, not all these different things. I pulled a muscle is the way people typically say it. And we think, oh, it's because I picked up a heavy thing. Oh, it's because I did something specifically, but that's not really the cause. The cause is before that moment. The cause is weakness in the back, or tension or tightness. And when there's tightness, the muscles are not as elastic, so they're more prone to injury. So the cause is something that we want to work with, which is creating strength so that we can prevent injury. Creating strength so that we can hold our bodies up properly, so that we don't create long muscles here and weak muscles there and tight muscles there. So we want to be able to have a sound structure. And in order to do that, that thing that's holding us up is this, the spine, the vertebrae are all working together to keep the body upright. And if we're not keeping that space healthy, surrounding it in particular, and wrapped around it towards the core, then the structure isn't sound and we will hurt ourselves. So with that being said, I'd like to get started by, let's come to the backs. So we'll come all the way down. And let's find Shavasana, so that space that we usually end our practice with, where the body's totally relaxed and released. And then with a few gentle breaths, begin to sink the body and release the body, relax the body. Clear the face, so any expression in the face, neutralizing that, maybe creating a little bit of a smile, but other than that, letting go of the facial muscles, of the ears, of the neck, letting go of the arms, the trunk in the front, the back of the trunk, the hips, letting go, front, back of the hips, sides of the hips, letting go of the legs, letting go of the feet. And at this time, let's just feel the body in the way that it is, without having to activate it in any way. And And then we'll start to let the breath grow. So every inhalation, starting with 4 seconds. Every exhalation, 4 seconds. And then with each cycle, see if you can lengthen by a second if possible. So maybe at some point you find that inhalation rising up to 7 seconds, maybe 8 seconds. And then releasing for the same amount of time. Now we want to find that consistency, that rhythmic quality of the breath. I was reading today Swami Vivekananda, one of the first individuals to bring yoga to the US, and he's saying that the way that we tend to breathe, it's not even considered breathing. Don't even consider it that we are actually breathing. It's so inconsistent. It's so non-rhythmical. But when you start to find this rhythm, this is breathing. Now as you continue to take a few deep breaths, see if you can work with the trunk so we could come into a complete yogic breath where on the inhale we find expansion in this order. First in the belly, then in the rib cage, then in the chest, then all the way up to the collarbone. And then on the exhalation, the collarbone, the chest, they all draw in. The rib cage draws in, the belly draws in. In that order, just like a wave of an ocean. And continue to breathe like this. You might incorporate Ujjayi pranayama, that constriction in the throat, little activity there, creating that sound, a narrow passageway to control the breath. And then continuing and feeling maybe a little bit looser through the trunk, a little bit more open. If lying down on the back with the legs straight ever bothers you for periods of time, it just means it might help you better if you plant the feet and keep the knees bent. So let's take one more cycle and then we'll start to move the body a little bit. When you're ready, start to move the head side to side. Maintaining that rhythmic quality of the breath, the real breath. And then we'll start to maybe move the hands, maybe the feet, maybe fingers and toes. You can take the arms and reach them behind, bring the feet together. You can flex the feet, point the toes, create some movement in the feet. We're going to bring the knees into the chest, arms around the knees, rocking a little bit side to side. And let us bring the feet down, hips distance apart, arms down alongside the body, walk the shoulders back towards each other. Coming into a bridge posture is such an important posture. It's, practice in all settings. Chiropractors recommend it, physical therapists usually incorporate it into their work with different conditions. We're going to pull the pelvis and lift the hips upwards. And then from here, take the arms upwards. So just gently lifting. And then as you exhale, lower the hips and bring the arms down. And we're just going to continue this. Inhaling, lifting the hips, taking the arms back. Exhaling, lowering the hips, lowering the arms. And we'll just continue without really going too far. So not as far as maybe a bridge posture that you would hold. And just lowering. The moment you find the hips all the way up is the moment you start to lower. You can play around with the order. Maybe the arms start first, going up, going down. Maybe the hips start first. Couple more. And then once the hips are low, we'll take the knees back in, squeeze them in, rock side to side. We're going to find a spinal twist. Take the arms over to the right, fold the knees take the arms to a T, fold the knees to the right. Turn the head to the left. We'll bring the knees to center, scooch the hips to the right a bit, then find the knees to the left, head turning to the right. And bring the knees to center, nice big squeeze. We're going to rock up to seated, and then let's come right over to hands and knees. We're actually going to work with the wrist for a moment. So let's just pick up the right wrist, find some circles, set it down, pick up the left wrist, find circles. And then we'll go ahead and plant the hands down, but shift the right hand to face back, fingers face back. You might take the hips a little further back to increase the stretch in this right forearm. A nice deep breath. And then let's switch. Releasing the right, maybe a circle or two. Take the left hand, fingers face back, and then maybe sending hips back to increase the stretch. Another deep breath. Release, maybe circle. All right, from here let's come down to the forearms. So we're working with the back, which means we're also going to work with the core because they are very much interdependent. So we're going to inhale, lift the right leg behind, and lift it all the way, press through the heel. And on your exhale, take the knee to the nose, shift the head down, the knee up. Inhale, lift the head, the leg. Exhale, draw the knee and the head towards each other. Continue a few more of these. One more inhale, lifting the right leg. And then on the exhale, set the knee down. Inhale, lift the left leg. And then we'll continue this. Exhaling, knee and head towards each other. Inhaling, lifting. Say one more. And then bringing both knees down. So before we go further, just notice where you're feeling sensation. It's really important, really, really important to be in tune with these parts, these sensations. They get subtler and subtler. Now we'll go ahead and extend the right leg, but bring the ball of the foot down. So we're going to come into, this is a modified forearm plank. So as you're here, pull the pelvis in and squeeze the shoulders back. So there's a difference between rounding the shoulders. You can go ahead and round the shoulders around the back. Notice what happens with the pelvis when you do that. And go ahead and squeeze the shoulders back towards each other. The head will lift a little, but keep the pelvis pulled in. Now bring this knee down and switch. Switch legs. Keep the pelvis pulled in, the shoulders squeezing back, looking slightly forward. You can look right past the front of the mat. So now we're going to come into a forearm plank. Let's first find a table posture, and we'll rest in child's posture for a few deep breaths and feel the glutes open up a little bit here after the strengthening we just did. Another deep, calming breath. And then when you're ready, rise up. Come back to the forearms. And from here, we'll extend one leg and see if you can also extend the other leg. Keep pulling the pelvis in, squeezing the shoulders back, looking forward past the mat. Two more deep breaths. Now from here, we're going to bring both of the knees down and then come all the way down to the belly, the chest. You can bring the forehead down. We can keep the arms here, but tuck the elbows in towards the waist a little bit. Relax the legs just for a moment, relaxing the heels outwards. And then we're going to bring the heels together, engage the legs, the thighs, the glutes. Now begin to lift the head up, lift the chest, and start to lift a little bit more, maybe we're coming into a cobra posture, so maybe keeping the elbows bent. So you can keep hips down. 2 more deep breaths. And we're going to turn this into a Sphinx posture by bringing forearms down, keeping the chest lifted. And then we'll exhale and lower all the way down. Bring the arms alongside the body, palms flipped up, forehead to the mat. We're just going to do this one breath, one movement. So on the next inhale, lift the head, the arms, the legs. Exhale, lower everything down. Resting at the bottom of the exhale, and then inhale, activating and lifting. Spread the toes. Exhale, lower. So once again, relaxing at the bottom of the exhale, then inhaling, lifting. Make sure to squeeze the shoulders back, strengthening the upper back as well. Exhale, lowering. A few more of these. The next few times you do this, you might interlace the fingers behind the back and then stretch the arms up, lifting the legs as well. Maybe once or twice more. And then when you're ready, rest, relax. Nice deep breath into child's posture. Sinking the hips, lowering the head. Another 2 breaths. Okay, when you're ready, rise upwards. Let's come into a table posture. Exhale, downward facing dog. Roll over the toes, lift the hips, take them back. Maybe shake the head out a little. Might pedal the heels, might sway the hips. We're going to work a little bit with the hips to kind of loosen up as well, and the lower back. So let's look forward and then float the right foot forward to the top of the mat, coming into a lunge. Come up halfway, lengthen the spine. Exhale, lower the hands, come back into downward facing dog. Next exhalation, step the left foot between the hands, come up halfway, lengthen. Exhale, lower, step the foot back. So this is from downward facing dog. We're going to interchange and just keep going this way. If it's too much to go into downward facing dog, as you're doing this, keep going, my microphone fell. As you're doing this, if it's too much to go into down dog, you'll start from a forward fold, and then you'll step a foot back, find a lunge, and then step a foot up, finding a lunge on the other side. So just check in and see. You might even go through one and then through the other. And so if you've been doing if you've been doing this downward facing dog version, then I'm going to encourage you to also work with that standing at the top of the mat, forward fold, and then stepping back. It's going to be a different experience. And then we'll be meeting with the right foot forward and the left foot to the back of the mat. So nice low lunge coming into a twisting dragonfly. So sinking into this right knee, left palm plants. Inhale, lift the right arm up. Now take this right shoulder blade and just move the arm slightly back, slightly up and over. So you can feel the shoulder blade tuck into the back and release. Just go through this a few more times. And then we'll switch. So when you're ready, you can come into downward facing dog or forward fold, and then left foot forward, right foot to the back of the mat. Right palm down, inhale, left arm up. And then we start to move this arm slightly, so really focusing on the shoulder blade, digging it in and releasing. Rhythmic breath. The arm is rhythmic also, but they're not necessarily coordinated movement to inhale, movement to exhale, just because this is a very small range of movement. And then when you're ready, we'll bring the hand down and step up to a forward fold. Top of the mat. Next inhalation, come up halfway, lengthen. Exhale, lower. Inhale, rise up to standing. Reach the arms up. You might go nice and slow or a little quicker. And then we'll come into Samastitihi with hands together, thumbs to the heart center. I'm going to step the left foot to the back of the mat, bring the arms to a T. So we're in star postures. Open this. You know, I love doing this as well. So what we're going to do is, from a star posture, take that right shoulder blade, bring it into the back, and you're going to shift through the trunk a little bit and the hips, and then come back to star. Get the left shoulder blade in, and just continue a few more of these. And then we're here in star posture. Release the arms. Okay. Separate the feet so they're a good distance away from each other. Bring the arms to a T. Exhale, hands behind. Interlace the fingers. Squeeze the shoulders back. Look up. Exhale, fold forward. About 3 deep breaths. Next, inhale, come up halfway, and then rise all the way up to standing. And we're going to find extended triangle posture. So if you tend to use blocks for this, we're going to linger there for a little bit. So you might want the support. And we'll be going into one side and then the other. So let's bring the arms to a T. Pivot the feet to the right. So right toes face the front of the mat, left toes facing left side of the mat, or they're slightly in. I like mine slightly in. Reach out with the right arm, lower it down to the right leg. Inhale, left arm up. You might look up past the left hand, but we're going to be here for a little bit, so it's okay if you keep that head neutral. And focus on keeping the trunk over the right leg. So we're opening the hip, opening the chest. The opposite of that is, you know, if you lower that left arm, you'll see the heart facing the mat. The left hip will start to close also. So that's closed, this is opening. Maybe hand to block. If you have the hand to the block, preferably to the outside of the leg or foot. And then the deeper option would be grasp the right big toe with the peace fingers without closing off. Maybe looking past the left. Next exhale, look down at the right foot. Inhale, rise up to standing. Bring your block with you if you've got one. Pivot your feet to the back of the mat, left toes facing the back, right toes slightly in, arms to a T. Exhale, reach out with the left arm, lower down the left leg. Inhale, right arm up. Take time, we're here for a little bit, so no rush to get to that deepest expression. Remember, trunk is over the left leg. If it's hard to do that, then you might need to take that left hand up the leg towards the thigh. Check in with the upper body. Notice if you're using the leg or block as a crutch. So rather than putting all the weight there, you're still holding up this trunk, just a little less, little support. Next exhale, look down at the left foot. Inhale, rise to standing, arms to a T. Exhale, we'll take hands behind once again, interlace the fingers, squeeze the shoulders back, look up, and then we'll fold forward. Release the arms. A couple deep breaths here. Next inhale, come up halfway, walk over to the front of the mat, plant the palms. We're going to come right into a pigeon's posture here. So you've got the weight on the arms, just lift this right leg. You can come into three-legged dog if you'd like, or you can just bring the right knee to the right hand, slide the left leg back, and then fold. Finding support for the forehead, whether it's the hands, mat blocks. Now as you're here, let's create a really important, it's a very important practice here. Let's create a new way of being here. So listening to the sound of Om internally. With every breath, you can hear Om on the inhale, listening internally, Om, and Om on the exhale. Om. And let that sound be equal. The inhalation, Om, lasting just the same amount of time as the exhalation. None of it really being chanted externally, right? Not really using the mouth or the vocal cords in any way. It's listening to that sound within yourself. A few more breaths. As you're creating that sound of Om internally on the exhalation, send it to the belly. Send that sound to the belly. Now we're going to go into a back bend. So we're going to start to rise. And I find this really helpful to keep my body, my back strong, my body ready, but also when I am feeling discomfort or even achiness or pain, I tend to go into this, and it tends to help me. So one way to help out is to sit right on top of the heel. Another option is to bring a block for some stability underneath the right hip. And then from here we're going to bend the back leg and hold this foot with a hand. Try the right hand first, and then as you're here, take the right shoulder back. Now see, if that's not working, then just be right here, and the point is creating strength in the back so that at some point as you practice this and all of the back bends, that the back will be strong enough to pull itself back against gravity. Now, if you can take the left hand to the left foot, then go ahead and do so. You can start by bringing it to the outside of the foot, but then take the hand over towards the toes and then to the inside of the foot. You're going to feel the shoulder blade shift. You can reverse that if you'd like to feel what the shoulder blade is going to do as you come in and out of this. So I'm just going through it 3 times just to feel that and move it around. And then once you have that to the inside of the foot, then turn the head towards the foot. Keep drawing the shoulder blade in. Even if you're far from this right now, the more you practice these back bends, the more available such a back bend would be. It's a matter of opening the hip flexor in the front of the body, opening the hip, outer hip, opening and strengthening the back. If you can go further, you can pull the leg in closer with the elbow. If a little further still, you might take opposite arm, right arm overhead, and then maybe find a bind. Obviously, this is much more intense. This is something I learned many, many years ago, so working one step at a time is really important. And so if you're still here in this back bend, right, facing forward, stay there. And then we're going to take another deep breath and find your way out of this by maybe taking the right leg behind, moving it around, maybe some knee to nose movement, and then we're going to switch. But just for fun, bring the left foot between the hands, roll over the back toes, and then go ahead and walk to the right side of the mat. Take a fold here, and then we're going to walk back to the front of the mat and come into pigeon's posture the way we came into the right side. So hands down, maybe you lift the left leg up and behind into downward facing dog, and then we'll take left knee to left hand, right leg slides back, folding right here. Calm, rhythmic breath. Bring the sound of Om in, especially on that exhalation. It's like you pull that Om in through the nostrils. Om. And then on the exhale, while air is exiting the body, you're drawing Om into the belly. Om. So a few more deep breaths. Sometimes I forget why yoga made such a difference in my life very early on initially. Sometimes I take for granted the fact that I have scoliosis, and this practice physically was the thing to help me with scoliosis, to be able to manage it in a very healthy way. So it's nice to celebrate that sometimes when we kind of figure something out with some of our, structural weakness. We're going to start to rise and find that back bend, and then look for your setup. Maybe you're going to sit right on the heel or put a block underneath the bottom. Maybe you're staying right here. Or maybe you're going to bend the back leg and then take a hold of that foot with the left hand or the ankle. You can push the foot into the hand to help open up the chest. So really feeling the activation of the upper back when we're doing this. That achy upper back is we can counter it by strengthening the upper back and opening up the chest. And then maybe you switch, taking hand to the outside of the foot, up and around the foot, maybe doing this 3 times just to feel what is it like when I move the shoulder blade in this fashion. And then holding. Maybe going deeper. Maybe starting to come out. And then coming back to a table posture, left leg moving behind. Let's rest in child's posture. 5 deep breaths. Nice clearing breath in through the nose. Exhale out through the mouth. Rise up, cross the ankles, come to a seat, extend the legs out in front. We're going to find a forward fold. Sit on a blanket if it's hard to be here. Bend the knees as well if it's hard to be here. That'll help out. Inhale, reach the arms up. Exhale, fold forward. You can bring hands to the back of the thighs, back of the to the calves, or to the feet without overstretching the shoulders. On the inhale, find length. On the exhale, fold in. We're just about ready to rest. A few more deep breaths, as if you were going to be here for 3 hours and you had to just deal with it and you knew that. You would relax into it rather than fight it. And we will start to rise and find a twist. Plant the right foot next to the left leg, right hand behind. Get tall and twist. You can hold this right leg with the left arm, or you can take the elbow outside the knee. Getting nice and tall, and then turning. Flexing the left foot. Drawing low belly into the spine. And inhale, come to center. Exhale, switch legs. Inhale, come to center. Cross the ankles, sit up nice and tall. Let's roll the shoulders. We're just going to roll the head a little bit. Loosen up the neck as well. And when you're ready, shoulders back and down. Chin down. Deep breath in and out, and then when you're ready, roll through 2 times one way, 2 times the other way. Once you finish that, just see if there's something else you'd like to do. So we're going to be moving into Shavasana, but see, maybe a fold from your seat, maybe coming to the knees or coming to the back. Looking into all the sensations and seeing, is there some place that I can give a little bit more attention to? And then we'll be setting up Shavasana when you're ready. In any way that you'd like, any way that you can be there and let go of the body completely. Maybe the way that we came into our practice today, maybe a different way. As you're there, inhaling, filling, exhale, emptying, releasing, letting go. And then letting go of the breath, so no need to control the breath. Allowing the whole body to sink. Allowing yourself to stop controlling the body. There's a time and a place for everything. Right now, we're letting go. Resting completely. slowly start to come back just by bringing your attention to the breath, bringing attention to the body. Noticing how neutral the facial expression is at this time. Deepening the breath and bringing movement back to the body. When you're ready, find your way up to seated. Sitting up tall. And palms together, eyes closed. Just go within for a moment. Go within. Feel the subtle sensations in the body. Notice that the body feels different than when we were first here today. Generate a sense of gratitude for yourself for making this time and taking care of your wellness. It's not always easy. Many forces that we have to kind of work with to get to our practice. So just come into that. And we're going to bring the hands together and create some heat, some friction. Bring that warmth to the eyes. Thank you so much for sharing your practice with me today. I honor the light in you that is the same light in me. Namaste. Thank you for being here, and I hope you have a wonderful day today. I will see you soon.